So we have some questions we need to address when we manage babies with respiratory distress. So the first question is, does the baby need respiratory support? So we can have objective ways. We have the Downey score and the Silverman-Anderson score. So you can use these objective scores. Anderson-Silverman score is used more in RDS at preterm babies because it's mainly based on chest wall indrawing and so on, while Downey score can be used in both term and preterm babies. If you use objective ways of discussing it, you are going to communicate in the same way. You understand what the colleague is conveying rather than saying mild distress, moderate distress. So you're having an objective way. So you look at the respiratory distress score, and accordingly we can decide, is this baby needing support, and what support will we need, what level of support. When you decide that the baby does need support, suppose the Down score is more than 3 or so, you need support. So what support do we need? Do we need oxygen or do we need pressure? So we have discussed earlier as well that if the baby has lung disease in the immediate newborn period, most likely it's a low compliance lung. So either TTN, pneumonia, RDS, any of these conditions are going to cause chest wall retractions. The lung is closing down, and the oxygenation problem is secondary to the poor compliance lung. So meconium aspiration is a mixed disease. You can have both, some areas with low compliance and some areas with high compliance. So irrespective of what you're dealing with, it's not just oxygen that you need in the immediate newborn period. So you're more likely to need pressure. And if the baby has tachypnea, recessions, grunting, it's clear cut that they have lung disease, and giving oxygen may improve your saturation, but it's not going to address the lung condition, because we know that a low compliance lung may close down if you're not giving the pressure, and then it becomes a vicious cycle. So instead of managing the baby comfortably with CPAP, you may end up intubating the baby. After you decide that the baby needs pressure, you consider whether you have room for non-invasive ventilation. In majority of the situations, that will be the case. Or are you clear-cut needing intubation? So the first question, if the baby has good respiratory effort or not, because non-invasive ventilation is based on the baby's own breathing effort. And if the baby has a good effort, the most likely you'll be able to manage with non-invasive ventilation. Without effort, you cannot consider non-invasive ventilation. So obviously that's an important step to decide. And I told you about the cases with the birth asphyxia or neuromuscular problems where the baby may not have the good respiratory drive, or they're related to medications that you're using. The next question is the lung disease evolving? So if you're talking of a baby with RDS, the disease is obviously going to evolve. So you need to be watching the progress and intervene quickly if there is acute worsening. That's why the European consensus and other guidelines for management of RDS have clear guidelines as to when you need to give surfactant and when you need to consider invasive intubation and management. So if the disease is RDS in your clinical diagnosis, we also have to address the question of, are we likely to need surfactant therapy? And for that, we are using the FiO2 as a marker. The lung closing down increases your oxygen requirement. And if the FiO2 is crossing 30 to 40%, depending on the size of the baby, the smaller baby, we keep 30% as a cutoff. And for a larger baby, you consider 40%. You can use the lung ultrasound as an option as well to help you. So all these are going to guide you on whether non-invasive is suitable. But remember that no decision is set in stone. So you make one decision and subsequently you have to act on it, monitor the baby according to the response, and then take it from there.